I, 34 male, had a child 10 years ago. Nova, female. I was a terrible person back then. I didn't stay in her life and I deeply regret it. A few months ago, I contacted her mom to see if I could see my child. She happily agreed to co-parent with me and seemed relieved, which was understandable considering she had 4 other kids, all younger than Nova. Nova was a bit distant at first, but now we're doing better. She's generally a terrific kid, but I realize that no punishment seems to work on her and that she can be very disrespectful at times. If I tell her to do something as a punishment, she won't do it, or if I ground her, she will leave without my permission. I asked her mom how she punishes her and she said she'd never punished her before. What I've heard from Nova is that it seems as if she would cuss her out and yell at her, which I didn't think are good punishments for a kid. 2 nights ago, Nova asked me if she could live with me. I told her I'd love it, but she could live with me on one condition: she had to follow my rules and be respectful. She didn't say anything after that. After she went back to her mom's home, my mom, who was there when Nova asked me this, told me I was an idiot because if a kid is asking her deadbeat dad to take her in, there must be something very wrong. So you don't make conditions for her, you just say yes and take her in. Was I really wrong to have this condition? I can't be a parent if she doesn't listen to me, but now both my mom and daughter refuse to talk to me. Her mom will likely have no problem with this. She seems too busy with her other kids, and I think she would like being the weekend fun parent, so that's not a problem. Oh gosh, you are the idiot. I think you're trying to do what you think is best, but I agree with your mum. Your daughter living with you shouldn't be conditional. If it works for everyone, you say yes, then work on communication and discipline. You're not the only one who has to learn. She does too. If she had no discipline whatsoever, she'd be stepping into a whole different world, and it might be difficult to adjust. She's just a kid who hasn't had the best or fairest life, by the sound of things. You possibly hurt her and let her down, thinking that's all you care about and don't want trouble. Guys acting like him reappearing after 10 years and raising his kid is a huge favor to his daughter she has to earn. Hey OP, how many conditions did your daughter give you for returning to her life after so many years of abandonment? This poor little girl probably thinks she is the worst behaved child based on how her mom treats her. She probably heard her dad say that and thought, why try? I can't be good with mom, so why would I be any better here? So sad. Imagine what Nova's life must be like at mom's house if she thinks that living with someone she's only known for a few months must be better. Hope he needs to put himself in the kid's shoes here instead of approaching from the perspective of, you need to make it easier for me if you want to live here. Your mom is 100% correct. You're a deadbeat who has only interacted with his daughter for a few months and putting conditions on her. Respect is taught, not demanded. Also, whether you and your daughter's mother approve of her living with you needs to go through the court system. If not, stuff could go sideways quickly, and someone could accuse you of abduction if not done correctly. You also need to know what's happening in her mother's home that makes her want to live with someone she's only known a few months. I officially tied the knot last week. Not sure how, but I convinced the coolest guy in the world that I'm tolerable enough to tie down for life. Super shocking. Thankfully, everyone accommodated that we didn't want children present at our ceremony or reception. The thing that did receive some pushback was our request that unless you were explicitly invited to stay, everyone needed to be out of the reception venue by 7 p.m. Those asked to stay mainly were mine and my husband's friends. As much as I love my parents, siblings and new in-laws, I did want to partake in a few adult substances and wasn't interested in them bearing witness to other things getting passed around. We'd been with them all day and would be seeing them the next morning as all of us were staying at a place nearby and had plans to grab breakfast together, so I didn't see it as a problem. At that point, I had already had a few drinks, so after some back and forth about whether they really had to head out, I basically said something to the effect of, if you wouldn't feel comfortable spending a night out with us at a gay bar, you should probably leave. The space cleared out quickly after that, and we did our thing with friends. It was a wonderful end to a wonderful night. However, my dad didn't show up for breakfast the following day, and my sister told me my mom and my mother-in-law weren't happy with my comments. Am I the idiot? Edit. To answer some questions, yes, it was put on the invitations that the reception ended at a particular time. There was no kicking anyone out, the event just ended and the after-party continued. My friend owns the reception venue we used. Attention please, we asked a group of you to stay here with us to celebrate, but the rest of you need to leave now. Thanks for coming though. And you don't think that message should offend? LOL, you are the idiot. Agree. I would have no issue if you ended the reception at 7 p.m. and then you and your friends went and did something together that is separate from the reception. But dividing your reception guests into an A-list and B-list and telling the B-list people they have to leave at 7 p.m. before the party is over is rude. It's incredibly awful that both sets of your parents were on the B-list. You kicked your parents out of your reception. This is incredibly tacky. The wedding reception is for all guests as a thank you for their love and attendance. You got pushed back because you decided that getting high with your friends was more important than showing your love and appreciation for those who attended your wedding. Your dad was right not to attend. Quite frankly, the entire group should have refused to attend once it was made clear that despite being your family, they were the D-list invitees. If you want a wild after-party, it is polite to do it at another venue, preferably on a different day, without making a big thing of it. But you need to end the wedding event first. I have many grandchildren, but this is about the oldest ones, Jake, 18, and Maya, 18. They're cousins, not siblings. 18th birthdays are very important in our family, so for Jake's 18th birthday, I told him I would buy him whatever he wanted, as long as it's reasonable, of course. He told me he needed a new phone, so I bought one for him, costing me around $1,000. I also encouraged him to choose other gifts, but he said it was enough. For Maya's 18th birthday, I did the same thing and told her to choose whatever she wanted. She gave me a list of what she wanted, and it cost me about $7,000. I was a bit unsure whether I should buy them, but decided that it would be unfair if I didn't buy them because Jake had the same offer and chose not to get anything else. Jake's father, my son, was very angry at Maya's birthday. He said I'm showing favoritism. I tried to explain that I wasn't because Jake had the same offer. He argued that I raised Maya, her parents worked a lot, and I was basically her babysitter. While I didn't have as much contact with Jake, his mom was a stay-at-home mom, so naturally, Maya would be closer to me, and it would be easier for her to ask me for things. You are the idiot. While you gave them a choice, which is nice, you should have decided that each one of them would get an equal value of gifts. If you spend $1,000 on one, that should have been the cap for the other. No one told you had to buy all the gifts on Maya's list. You made that choice. I agree it should be equal, but it sits wrong with me to call Grandma an idiot for being a generous gifter. You can see she feels confused and conflicted about what the right thing to do is. She gave both grandkids whatever they asked for, into the thousands of dollars, which is incredibly generous. I don't think she thought through how to offset differential greed, frankly, from her grandkids. If she wanted to go all out to make it right, she could gift her grandson $6,000 in cash to even the score, but that seems a bit excessive. OP literally punished Jake for not being greedy. I do wonder if Maya even expected everything on her list or if she just gave OP a list of options. If she did, that is greedy. Who spends $7,000 for a birthday? That's college money. I don't fault the grandma for going by what her granddaughter put on her list. Her grandson was offered that and he chose not to. The amount of money spent is ridiculous. Sorry, Grandma, you are way overspending. It's crazy a child would expect to get expensive gifts like that. My mom would have slapped me upside my head for being greedy. Not the idiot, two things. 1. You gave both grandchildren a choice to buy whatever they wanted and even encouraged your grandson to buy more, but he didn't want to. I would recommend you still reach out to your grandson and make sure he isn't upset with you to be sure. 2. I've seen so many comments saying that you shouldn't be spending the money on your granddaughter. If you have the money and are willing to spend it on your grandchildren, then it's no one else's business. This is the most reasonable response. She's not the idiot for spending $7,000 on her grandkid. It seems people are jealous that she was able to spend $7,000 on one kid, but reach out to Jake to see if he's okay and doesn't feel a particular way. I'm 22 female, my little sister May's tween legal guardian. She started living with me when I was 18, but I've been raising her since she was a baby because our mom didn't do much, and her dad isn't around. I'm a firm believer in letting kids express themselves, so when May started gravitating towards traditionally masculine things, I didn't force her to do girl stuff. I just let her do what made her happy. She cut her hair and stopped wearing dresses and things like that. We even redecorated her room as dinosaur-themed because they're her favorite thing. She's young and it would be dumb to deprive her of joy just because other people think boys should behave one way and girls should behave another. So I've always encouraged her to be and do what makes her happy. May's grandmother, Anne, 60, recently contacted me and asked to see her. She's never met May and her son, May's dad, hasn't met her. He doesn't even have rights to her. I did agree to let Anne meet her under the conditions that May agreed to the meeting and that May's dad wouldn't be present or know about it. She said okay, so we made plans to meet at a restaurant. May picked out a button-up shirt with dinosaurs and some shorts to wear. She just looked so happy with her choices that I didn't consider making her change or anything. When we arrived, Anne was there, but she immediately looked bothered upon seeing May. She asked where her granddaughter was, and when I told her my sister was right here, she immediately went off. She started saying that I never deserve guardianship of May. I'm turning her grandchild into something she's not, forcing her to be a boy, etc. Finally, we started getting looks from other people, and May was upset by what was happening, so I took her and left the restaurant. I later got another message from Anne saying she plans on taking custody of May because, according to her, I'm ruining her. I told my best friend about it and she said that I should have made May dress differently before taking her to dinner because Anne was obviously from a different time and I should have been mindful of that. But I feel like if I'd done that, then I'd be reflecting on how often I've told my sister that who she is and what she likes to wear and do is nothing to be ashamed of. I don't know what to do. I don't think I should have made May change her outfit just to go meet a woman she doesn't even know, and I don't even think letting May be herself is wrong either. But if it could have helped avoid any issues with Anne, maybe I should have asked May to tone it down. Am I an idiot because I didn't do that? 100% not the idiot, and don't be afraid of her stupid threats. She's not got a leg to stand on. Neither does she seem to have anything to offer your sister. I think you did great. And bonus, Anne revealed her truth earlier rather than later, so you can wave bye-bye. Her granddaughter is a tween, and this is the first time she's met her, and the first thing she does is complain about how she's dressed. She made a scene in public, and this was undoubtedly upsetting to her grandchild, but she thinks she deserves custody? You're letting May be May. Nothing is wrong or bad about that, but if Grandma was so worried, where was she 4 years ago when her baby granddaughter needed a guardian? Imagine going to a judge and saying, she's an unfit guardian because she allows a girl to have short hair and to wear a shirt with dinosaurs. I can't imagine that a family court would give that argument a minute's consideration. I suggest cutting off contact with toxic grandma. OP, you're doing the right thing by showing your sister that she doesn't need to pretend to be someone she's not just to please others, especially not people who'd never cared about her before. It's not your or May's problem that Anne cannot move past the gender roles she was raised with. You might want to get legal advice in case Anne tries to get custody. My partner and I, 29 male and 32 male, have been together for a decade now. We've discussed marriage before, but it's always one of those things we'll get to it when we get to it things. We're in love, we've lived together for years, we've both got steady incomes. Basically, all we haven't done is acquired the special piece of paper and have a party with family. My sister's wedding was this past weekend, and it brought up a lot of unexpected feelings. My partner and I have never been particularly bothered with the idea of a big wedding, and we're still planning on keeping things small, but there was something special about that night. We've been to plenty of lovely weddings together before, but something felt different. In a private moment just between us two, I asked him to marry me, and he accepted. There was no big show, no getting down on one knee, just an intimate moment between us during the reception. We didn't tell anyone that night or even for a few days. We had a little family visit yesterday, though, to see my sister and her new husband before they left for their honeymoon. My partner and I said how beautiful her wedding was and how moved we were and told the story of that special moment that she helped facilitate, even if it wasn't intended. Instead of happiness, we were met with anger. She argued that it was disrespectful and undermined her event, that we were trying to steal her thunder. I wasn't even planning on sharing this story with anyone but mine and my husband's immediate families and friends. I also thought it was harmless because we didn't call attention to ourselves. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot for the timing when sharing that story with your family. Why did you have to do it at an event when you were seeing your sister off for her honeymoon? You could have easily delayed the news until after the honeymoon and left out the part about the proposal happening at the wedding, and everything would have been fine. How were you expecting them to react? Waiting a couple of weeks and leaving it at "your wedding inspired us to follow suit" would have made all the difference. Now you've ruined your own wedding on top of your sister's. How would OP be ruining his future wedding? And more importantly to the relevance here, how did he ruin his sister's wedding? The wedding went off without issue. Nothing was changed or affected by the proposal aside from OP and his husband, and nobody, including the bride herself, would know anything different if OP didn't say anything. How could you steal thunder if no one knew? Come on, enjoy your upcoming nuptials. Not the idiot. Don't propose at someone else's wedding is a pretty common rule, but in this case, I feel like the sister is upholding it for the sake of the rule rather than because it makes sense. It's more about don't hijack someone else's event. If it was a quiet moment with just you two, no one else noticed, you didn't cause a scene, and no one jumped on a table and announced it to everyone present, I think you're okay as long as you don't make a big deal of it in the future and don't advertise that you got engaged at your sister's wedding, and don't bring up your engagement anytime someone talks about your sister's wedding. Agreed, this was not a steal the mic and serenade your love on the dance floor moment. They didn't mention this very private moment for days afterwards. Let me guess, was your sister one of those who tells her bridesmaids not to get pregnant before the wedding because she doesn't want invitees paying attention to someone else? Damn, folks need to get over themselves.